Have you ever noticed that the harder you chase something, the farther it runs? That the more you try to control your destiny, the more chaos you invite into your life. We were never taught how to flow. We were taught how to struggle, to force, to conquer. But nature does not force. The rivers do not strain to meet the ocean. And maybe, just maybe, the greatest secret of life is this: when you stop forcing life, everything changes tonight. Let's walk together into the forgotten wisdom of surrender. Let's remember what it means to trust existence itself. From the moment we are born, we are taught to grip life tightly, make plans, set goals, push harder. The world whispers in our ears, if you don't control your life, it will fall apart. And so we clench. Our dreams become weapons against ourselves. We tie our worth to outcomes, our happiness to victories. We carry this invisible armor, heavy and suffocating, marching through life like soldiers in a war we never chose. But what we were never told is that this control, this desperate grasping, is the very thing that creates our suffering. Control is fear, disguised as ambition. It is the terror of trusting the unknown, the anxiety of believing that unless we force it, life will betray us. Yet the truth stands quietly, waiting for us to notice. Life was never meant to be dragged forward. It was meant to unfold organically, patiently, mysteriously. Like a flower blooming without effort, like rain falling without command, like the sun rising without our permission. The moment you loosen your fist, the moment you stop wrestling life to the ground, you realize it was never life that needed controlling. It was your fear that needed healing. What if, instead of pushing harder, you simply paused? There is a sacred wisdom in the pause, a place where time slows, where the noise falls away, where the soul catches up with the body. But we are terrified of silence. We fear what will arise when we stop moving, as if stillness might reveal that we are lost. Yet it is in the sacred pause that life begins to reveal its true map. Not the map written by fear, not the map designed by other people's expectations, but the living map of your own soul. In the pause, you hear the subtle whispers of intuition. You feel the currents of destiny moving beneath the surface. You realize that life is not a machine to be operated, but a river to be surrendered to. When you stop forcing, you remember you were never truly lost. You were only moving too fast to see the path beneath your feet. Look at the rivers. Look at the clouds. Look at the blood moving through your veins, all of it flowing effortlessly. You were born to flow. To move with life, not against it. But somewhere along the way, we were taught that to surrender was weakness, that to trust the unfolding was to invite disaster. So we began to swim upstream, exhausting ourselves, forgetting the current that once carried us with ease. Alan Watts reminds us, you don't have to make the river flow. It already knows the way. When you release your need to force outcomes, when you give up your frantic swimming against the tides, you will discover an ancient truth. The current has always been on your side. Your dreams, your destiny, your healing, they're not on the other side of struggle. They are downstream, waiting for you to stop fighting and allow yourself to be carried home. Flow is not laziness. Flow is alignment with the living intelligence of existence itself. We have been conditioned to believe that control is power, but true power, as it turns out, is in letting go. We live in a world where we are constantly told that if we want something, we must take it, push, fight, dominate, conquer. But the deeper truth, true strength, is the ability to let go when the time comes, True power lies in trusting that the universe has a way of guiding us, even when we cannot see it. Control is the prison of the mind. It is the belief that we must force life into our own narrow vision, rather than opening ourselves to the mystery that life holds. And in this illusion, we spend our days chasing after fleeting desires, always running, always striving, never stopping to appreciate the beauty of the moment. But the moment you stop chasing, you realize the universe has been trying to give you what you wanted all along, but you were too busy fighting to see it. What would happen if you surrendered to life? What would happen if you stopped resisting? There is a dance to life, a rhythm that we are all born with, but we are so busy trying to choreograph every step that we forget to listen to the music. Surrender is not passive. It is not giving up. It is a conscious choice to step into the flow. It is choosing to trust that life has a plan for you. Even when you can't see it, the dance of surrender is an act of faith, a leap into the unknown, a willingness to allow life to surprise you, to teach you things you never expected. And when you do, you will find that life is not a struggle to survive, but a celebration to experience. In the rhythm of surrender, you find peace, you find grace. You find yourself. Imagine standing in front of an open door, feeling the wind on your face, but you can't take that step. You're frozen, staring at the unknown. On the other side, you think to yourself, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? What if I'm not ready? But what you fail to realize is that you are already free. The chains that bind you are all in your mind. You are not bound by your circumstances. You are not trapped by the past. You are not defined by what has happened to you. The only thing standing between you and freedom is the choice to let go. The moment you release your need for certainty, the moment you stop clinging to the idea of control, you realize that you have been free all along. Freedom is not something that comes later. It is something that exists right here, right now. It is the freedom to be yourself, to trust your journey, to allow life to unfold without your constant interference. There is a path that winds through the mountains, not the steepest or the most obvious, but the one that feels right. It's the path of least resistance, not because it is easy, but because it is natural. It is the path of least struggle, the way of flow. We are often taught that the only way to get what we want is to fight for it, to push through obstacles, to overcome every challenge with brute force. But the truth is, the path that feels right will always lead you to where you need to go, even if you don't understand it at first. Like a river winding through the forest, it finds its way, no matter the rocks, no matter the turns. When you stop forcing life to be something it's not, you begin to walk the path of least resistance, and you realize that the journey itself is the destination. How many times have you stood at the edge, looking into the unknown, and wondered, what if I fail? The unknown is terrifying, but it is also where magic happens. In the unknown, we find the space to grow. In the unknown, we find the possibility of something greater than we ever imagined, but only if we trust it. Trusting the unknown is not about having all the answers. It is about stepping into the darkness, believing that the light will appear when it's time. It is about knowing that you don't need to control the future, because the future is already unfolding perfectly, just as it should. And so when you stop forcing life to fit your expectations, when you release your need to predict every outcome, you make room for the unknown to surprise you, and it will surprise you in ways that will take your breath away. We are afraid of surrender We are afraid of what will happen when we let go, but the truth is, surrender is not weakness. It is the ultimate strength. Because when you surrender, you are no longer fighting against yourself. You are no longer battling life. You are not in conflict. Surrender is the courage to allow things to be as they are, without interference, without judgment. Surrender is the wisdom to know that life will unfold in its own time, and that you do not need to control every moment. Be happy. In fact, true happiness only comes when you stop fighting for it. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means giving in to life's flow and trusting that everything will work out as it should. Time is one of the greatest illusions we face. We are always running out of it, always looking for more of it, always measuring it by the ticking of a clock. But time does not exist the way we think it does. Time is not a straight line. It is not a countdown to something we must accomplish. Time is a river, constantly flowing, shifting, changing with every moment. We experience time as linear, but in reality, time is cyclical. It is the ebb and flow of experiences, the seasons, the rhythms of life. Time exists only in our minds as a construct, a measurement we use to control our reality. But when you stop forcing life to move according to time, when you stop rushing to the future and worrying about the past, you step into the timeless moment, the moment when you realize that time is not your enemy. It is your ally. It is not something to control, but something to flow with. And in that moment of surrender, you understand that time, like everything else, is a dance. It moves with you, if you let it. Patience is not about waiting. It is about trust. It is about knowing that everything will come in its own time. The world we live in is impatient. We want things now. We want results, answers, clarity. We want to control the speed of life itself, but life moves at its own pace, and when you stop forcing, you begin to understand that patience is the greatest power you can possess. Patience is not a passive thing. It is active. It is the strength to wait without anxiety, without the need to control or manipulate. The more you practice patience, the more you align yourself with the natural rhythms of the universe. You realize that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, and that nothing is ever too late or too soon. Patience is the space between your desire and its manifestation. It is the trust that everything is coming, and that when the time is right, it will all fall into place. Expectations are like invisible chains. They bind us to a future that may never come, to a version of reality that we cannot control. We are taught to have expectations, to dream big, to aim high, to plan our futures. But in doing so, we set ourselves up for disappointment, because life does not follow our script. It does not follow our timeline. The moment you let go of your expectations, you release the pressure to force life into a shape that does not fit. You allow life to unfold in its own way, in its own time. And here lies the paradox. When you let go of your expectations, life gives you far more than you ever imagined. Not because you forced it, but because you allowed it to come as it is. And in that allowance, you open the door to a life of abundance, one that flows effortlessly without the weight of expectations. Now, this moment, right here. It is all that exists. The past is gone. The future is not here. The only time that matters is this very moment. And yet, we spend so much of our time wishing for the future, regretting the past, trying to control what is not here. But in the now, everything is perfect. in the present moment. There is nothing to force. There is only the experience of life unfolding. When you stop forcing life, you begin to understand the beauty of now. You begin to feel the depth of the present, the richness that exists when you stop looking ahead. In the now, there is no struggle. There is only being. There is only living. And the more you practice being present, the more life shows up for you in ways you never thought possible. Surrender is not a weakness. It is the courage to accept life as it is. To release your tight grip and trust that you will be taken care of. We fear surrender because it feels like giving up, but it is not giving up. It is giving in to life's flow. It is trusting that the universe has a plan and that you don't need to have all the answers. The courage to surrender is the courage to admit that you don't know. It is the courage to let go of the need to control, to be okay with uncertainty, and to trust that things will work out. It is in surrender that we find true freedom, not freedom from life, but freedom in life, the freedom to be who we are, the freedom to allow life to unfold as it should. What if the universe is guiding you right now through everything you are experiencing, every challenge, every joy, every moment of doubt, and every moment of clarity? What if, instead of struggling, instead of forcing your way through life, you simply allowed yourself to be led? We often think that we must do everything ourselves, that we must be the ones in control of every step. But the truth is, there is an unseen hand at work. There is a greater force moving through us, through every experience, through every moment. When you stop forcing life, you allow that unseen hand to guide you. You allow yourself to be supported by the flow of existence. And in that trust, you find your true path, not the one you plan, but the one that life has been guiding you toward all along.